been a long time since I've done a market update, and this will be the first one that we've done together.
First one, yep.
Instead of us throwing a whole bunch of data at you and just hope that you can interpret it, we want to make these as bite-sized as possible so you can actually have layman's terms whenever you're having conversation or trying to navigate different clickbait headlines. You actually know what's really happening here. So the biggest thing right now that's different than what headlines might be pushing is we're seeing a lot more options on the market. We had 1,700 homes listed in Sumner County, and so what that means is buyers aren't having to jump into the first thing that works for them. They can actually sleep on it and process, be like, is this the right fit for us for the next few years of our life?
Things aren't moving as quickly, right? So we have 90 days is the average right now from the time a property lists until it closes. And right about the halfway mark is when it goes under contract. So we're seeing about in the 40 plus days on market and then 40 plus days to close after it goes under contract.
And that's a big difference too. So for sellers right now, 40 something days used to mean something's wrong with your house. If it doesn't have an offer in the first couple weeks, sellers are asking, well, what's wrong? What other thing could be happening? That's not it. Just the average days, people are thinking about it more. They're looking at more options now. So what that means for sellers is now more than ever, it's important that your home is actually show ready. So getting it professionally cleaned, making sure it's staged, making sure you're packing things. Because this time 4 or 5 years ago, you could just stick a sign in the yard and you'd get multiple offers.
We're looking at 40 some hours instead of 40 some days.
It's true.
But no, well, and because of the inventory that we have, we're seeing that shift. It used to be such a seller's market, right? In that anarchy market, as you call it, it was such a seller's market to where in a few hours things were going under contract. But we didn't even have a whole month's worth of inventory. Now we have over 4.5 months of inventory. And people think the pendulum swung all the way around and saying, oh, it's now a buyer's market instead of a seller's market, but that's not true. 4.5 months is a perfectly balanced market to where you can still negotiate. Both sides can negotiate. Buyers get to, like you said, sit on it, think about it, sleep on it. And sellers, they still have some negotiating power. They're not giving everything away like they would if it was a true seller's market. So instead of the headlines where, oh, the pendulum swung, oh, it's crashing, oh, this is and that, we're right where we need to be, and we've seen a lot of good negotiations lately.
And we're seeing it on both sides too. We're seeing sellers offering closing costs, buyers agents compensation. That conversation is happening a lot better. Yeah. And then even buyers are still doing pass fail inspection. So we're still seeing that give and take. It just depends on the house and the price point, honestly.
So at the end of the day, I think what this means for buyers is that they get to slow down, they get to take a breath, they get to sleep, and then they can make their informed decision and get the house that they truly fits their needs.
One important clarification point though is those buyers should still do a discovery call consultation before they think they're ready, so that way they're best positioned for when that right home comes up.
Absolutely.
That's something that we had happen recently. Someone had gotten advice similar to that and they thought, oh, we can wait. Well, they asked us to show them a house that they loved. They weren't pre-approved yet, and that same weekend, even though it had been on the market it was almost 60 days, they couldn't get their pre-approval in time. And that same weekend, 2 other people showed up and submitted an offer on that house, and they missed that chance. And then what it means for sellers in this market, just to recap kind of what we've already talked about with sellers, it's taking, because of what you said with the 90 days from listing until closing, if your goal is to move 3 months, especially if it's sooner, but 3 to 6 months, you need to be having those conversations with your agent to make sure that you're set up, and the things that take time or the things that sneak up on you before you get it list ready, you're having those conversations earlier than you think you need to, because now more than ever, with the increase in competition for the listings that are on the market, it's more important than ever that you have it show ready, marketed properly, and priced properly. There's no pricing high to test the market in this current market.
Right, the strategy of doing it right the first time. So if you are curious about what any of this means or building out the appropriate timeline that works for you, just let us know. We'd love to help.
In everyone's situation, everyone's homes, specifically depending what they are, where they're located, things can look a little bit different. So if you're maybe not looking at selling, but you're wondering, where is the value of my home? We have a resource for that. If you're curious what your buying power is, let us know and we'd be happy to connect you with someone. We want to be a resource whether the time is right now for you or not. So stay tuned for more and let us know how we can best help you.
And make sure to share this with somebody that you've had a recent real estate conversation with.